again, our title is Geologic Process. And the number one objective nito is to identify the different earth, exogenic, and endogenic process. To identify the different types of mass wasting or landslide and its contributing factors. To explain the volcanism in terms of its types and eruption styles, and also to explain how rocks behave under the different types of stress. We will also discuss and compare and contrast the formation of plate boundaries, and we will explain the continental drift theory. Okay? So, the key question in studying about the geologic process is, how do geologic process influence rock movement and formation? Then why is it important to monitor volcanic activities? Then the other question is, why volcano is important to life on Earth? Okay? So, in order to answer that, we will start our lesson. So, pag sinabi nating geologic process, these are a variety of processes act on and within the Earth. So, usually these geologic processes are the processes that are caused by forces from within the Earth, mainly influenced by plate tectonic movements. So, here are some examples of geologic processes. Number one is the volcanism. Okay? So, the volcanic activities or volcanic eruption. Next is the metamorphism, the transformation of igneous rock or sedimentary rock into a metamorphic rock. The plate tectonic movements or the folding and faulting, and also the earthquake. And here are some examples of geologic process. Number one is the exogenic process. Then, number two is the endogenic process. When we say exogenic process, it came from the forces or above the Earth's surface. Ang mga halimbawa ng exogenic process are weathering, soil erosion, mass wasting or landslide, the sedimentation, hydrologic cycle or water cycle. It includes the sedimentary rock formation in the ocean basin, and etc. While sa endogenic process naman, these are the processes that are caused by forces from within the Earth, mainly influenced by plate tectonic movements or the movement of the plate tectonics. So, ang mga halimbawa nito guys are the volcanism, again the metamorphism, plate tectonic movements, and folding and faulting. So, later malalaman natin what are the cause of folding and faulting, and also the earthquake. So, let us first study about the exogenic process. What are the different types of exogenic process? Then what are the different factors that may affect the exogenic process? So, the exogenic process is also known as the mass wasting. Okay? So, it is the downslope process of transporting bodies from a higher elevation to a lower one due to Earth gravity. So, usually, this exogenic process, or also known as mass wasting, nangyayari to during landslide. Hello? Napuputol? Okay, wait lang. Ayos. Hindi. Okay. Okay, so again, pag sinabi nating exogenic process is, it is also known as a mass wasting, ano? So, ang mga karaniwang halimbawa nito ay erosion, soil erosion, or landslide. So, here are the different factors that affect mass wasting. Okay? Number one is the water. Pag sinabi nating water, it is the amount of water in the soil which has a major, or it is a major factor in the stability of the slope. So it has a little amount of water prevents the slope from sliding, but too much water lubricates the individual grains of sediments, decreasing friction between each grain. So the possibility of mass wasting increases. So yung tubig daw, number one factor na siya na nakakaapekto sa mass wasting. So a little amount of water is nape-prevent na yung pagbagsak ng slope ng lupa, okay? From sliding it, okay? Pero kapag sobra-sobra na or too much na yung water, it lubricates the individual grains of sediments from decreasing its friction. So kaya nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na soil erosion or landslide. Okay? So 'di ba kapag bumabaha, yun, kaya siya nagkakaroon ng ganon. And then, for letter B, factors affecting mass wasting is the soil. So, another factor that determines mass wasting is the slopes material present in the soil. So, usually, yung mixture ng rocks, okay? Yun daw yung mga karaniwan na, yun yung karaniwan na present sa soil. The mixture of rocks, the regolite, or the regolite, okay? And then, the organic matter, then water and air. So, the mass wasting is more prone on slope that has shale, okay? So, without going into detail, the shape and composition of individual clay particles can absorb water and prevent water from percolating through the ground. And then, yung letter C factors is the geologic features. These geologic features is joints and faults that are types of fractures, okay? So, dalawang klase daw yun. Dalawang klase yung geologic features na binabanggit dito. Yung number one is the joint. So, yung joint daw, it is a fracture along which no movement has taken place and usually caused by tensional forces. So, yung joint daw, ito yung fracture na nangyayari sa lupa, pero hindi nagkakaroon ng tensional movement. It was not came from earthquake or any landslide or soil erosion, but by cause of any tensional process. And then, yung fault naman is a fracture or breakage of rock along which movement has taken place. So, and then another one is yung bedding. Okay? Yung bedding naman is also known as stratification. So, this stratification or bedding is ordinarily described as the layering that occurs in the sedimentary rock. So, minsan daw, yung layering daw is matatagpuan natin kay metamorphic rock or mas madalas na matatagpuan kay metamorphic rock. Then, for letter D, factors that affect the mass wasting is what we call the triggering effects. These triggering effects are the mass movement, which usually triggered by events such as volcanic eruption, okay, so earthquake, then increase of water due to massive rainfall or heavy rainfall, and then the increase of steepness or the removal of vegetation and earthquake. So, yun yung mga karaniwang triggering effects kung bakit nagkakaroon ng mass wasting. Kasi kapag bumagyo, di ba, bumabaha, may mga ilang area na bumabaha, tumataas yung tubig, and then the volcanic eruption, and earthquake. Yan. Then, let's move on with okay. So, these are the different types of mass wasting based on movements. Number one is the falls or rock falls. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating falls or rock falls, it is a rock fall or a type of rock fall that has a fast-moving landslide. Okay? That happens when rock or earth falls, bounce or rock rolls from a cliff or down a very steep slope. So, yung rock falls or rock falls daw, usually, ito daw ay nangyayari kapag, ito daw yung klase ng rock falls or mass wasting kung saan mabilis daw yung pagbagsak ng mga bato, okay? Then, mas mabilis daw yung landslide na nangyayari. Okay? It is because of the gravity or the earth falls. Okay? So, nagbabounce daw yung mga bato. Okay? Nagro-roll from the cliff and then pababa ng slope. And then, yung number 2 is the rock slides or debris. Pag sinabi nating debris, guys, these are the parts or the remaining parts na nanggaling from destruction. Okay? Usually, the rock slides involve the displacement of material along one or more discrete planar surfaces. So, ito daw ay nagkakaroon ng displacement of material mula sa isa o mas higit pa na yung flat materials. Okay? So, then number 3 is the mud flows or flows. So, ito daw yung flow of mixture wherein or the flow of mixed earth debris containing large amount of water. So, usually, mas madami naman dito yung tubig, okay? Then, putik. Yan, maliliit na bato, tapos tubig, tapos putik. Okay? And then, number 4, nagpuputol-putol pa ba? Hindi na, okay. So, medyo malakas yung connection dito sa pwesto ko. Okay. So, number 4, we have the slumps. Okay? So, when we say slumps, it's sometimes referred to as the rotational slide. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ng rotation. Then, ito yung klase ng mass wasting wherein ito yung nagiging resulta ng slide of coherent rock materials, okay, in a curved surface. So, para ba siyang yung sa cliff, 'di ba? So, meron kasing mga cliff na yung shape nung yung shape niya is pa-curve. Then, number 5, we have the creep. Okay? Yung creep naman is a type of mass wasting based on movement wherein meron siyang tinatawag na imperceptibly slow. Mabagal daw to. Different classification of mass wasting. Okay? So, usually, ina-identify sila based on 3 types. Actually, yung kanina, malaki yung pagkakaiba nun. Kasi yung kanina nga na-present ni ma'am, those are types of mass wasting based on their movements. So, ulitin ni ma'am, the different types of mass wasting based on movements are rock falls, okay, rock slides, mud flows, slumps, and creeps. Okay? Pero meron din tayong classification of mass wasting. So, 3 ito. Okay? So, these are the different classification of mass wasting. Number 1 is the flow. Okay? So, when we say flow, it is a descending mass movements or moving from downhill as a viscous fluid. Okay? So, madali daw itong ma-identify si flow kasi ito yung pagbagsak ng tubig mula sa bundok. Okay? So, ganun yung classification ng mass wasting. Okay? Then, yung slide naman is it is a descending mass remains intact and descends along well-done or well-defined surface. So, nagkakaroon to ng tinatawag na translational slide movement. Okay? So, it could be in parallel motion or what we call the rotational slide or rotational motion. Okay? So, yun yung karaniwan. So, yung slump, okay? Yung slump daw belongs to slide. Okay? So, naka-classify daw siya as a slide. So, again, the movement that could happen during the slump could be translational or parallel motion or what we call the rotational motion or the rotational slide. Then, sumunod naman is the fall. Okay? The classification of mass wasting fall. Usually, dito sa fall, the materials are falling or bouncing downward. Okay? So, yung mga materials daw, like yung mga naputol na puno, okay? Karaniwan, yung mga lupa, mga bato, okay? Nagpuputol-putol pa ba? Wait lang, tingnan natin kung merong mga nag-join na pa ata. Okay. So, these are the different classification of mass wasting. So, these are the types of movement. Okay. So, flow, slide, and fall. So, let us now proceed with lesson 2, which is about the endogenic process. Tutuloy natin siya kasi 4 lessons siya. So, every meeting natin, magdadalawang lesson tayo. Okay? So, kung kanina, yung first lesson natin is about the mass wasting. Okay? So, dito naman sa lesson 2 is the endogenic process. Exogenic process is the mass wasting. Okay? Well, endogenic process pertains to the volcanism or volcanic activities. So, usually, the volcanism is also spelled as volcanism or yung VOLCANISM or VULCANISM. So, these are any of the various processes and phenomena which associated with the surfacial discharge of molten rock, pyroclastic fragments, hot water and stream, and then it also includes the volcanoes, geysers, and fumaroles. Okay? So, sa volcanism, these are, or to make it short, it is a volcanic activities. Either magkaroon ng ash fall, okay, or releasing of ashes, releasing of molten magma, okay, and then lumaki yung crater niya, yung mouth niya is umuusok, okay, magkaroon ng seal, okay, then magkaroon ng clogging of trough. So, yun yung mga volcanism or volcanic activities. So, the volcano is a vent that directly connects magma to the surface of the earth. So, yung volcano daw, ito yung butas, okay? Butas sa earth that usually nagko-connect sa magma to the surface of the earth. Dito inire-release yung magma, okay? And also described as a mountain or hill. So, typically conical, having a crater or vent through which lava or rock magments or hot vapor and gas are being or have been erupted from the Earth's crust. Okay? So, isa ang Pilipinas sa may pinakamaraming volcano. Okay? So, yung sumunod naman is the magma. So, the magma is formed from the Earth's mantle melts. Okay? So, kung malagkit daw or thick yung magma and then yung gas bubbles is hindi siya madaling nakaka-escape. Tapos sobra-sobra yung heat and pressure na nabibuild up sa ilalim ng lupa or sa core. Doon na nagkakaroon ng rising of magma. Okay? Then when the pressure is too much, that is the time na nagkakaroon na ng explosive eruption. Okay? So, there are 2 predominant types of volcanic eruption. Meron daw 2 klase ng volcanic eruption. Okay? These are what we call the effusive eruption, and then the other one is the explosive eruption. So, pag sinabi nating effusive eruption, the magma rises through the surface and flow out the volcano. So, it can be seen by viscous liquid, which is what we call lava. So, sa effusive eruption, walang pagsabog na nangyayari. Okay? There is no explosion. Pero, makikita na yung flow ng liquid or lava is viscous siya. Okay? Manakit na visible siya. And then, another type of volcanic eruption or a predominant type of volcanic eruption is what we call the explosive eruption. So, this is the time when the magma was torn apart or is torn apart and rises and reaches the surface in pieces. Okay? So, those pieces that reaches the Earth's surface are what we call the pyroclastic materials. Okay? So, yung pyroclastic materials are the torn magma that rises because of explosion. Okay? So, meron tayong ginagamit o merong materials na ginagamit para malaman kung ang isang volcano is still active or not. So, this is what we call o sinusukat din nito yung explosivity ng isang volcano. Ang tawag natin dito is Volcanic Explosivity Index or VEI. So this was invented in the year 1982 by Stephen Self, okay? And then ni Chris Newhall, okay? So they work for the United States Geological Survey. Okay? So the VEI or VEI, Volcanic Explosivity Index, is a relative scale that enables explosive volcanic eruption to be compared with one another. So ginagamit din daw siya para ma-scale or masukat yung inability, okay, ng explosive volcanic eruption. Then kino-compare sila sa isa't isa. Okay? So the primary eruption characteristic was used to determine the volcanic explosivity index, which is the volume of pyroclastic material was ejected by the volcano. So, tingnan natin, So, yung Hawaiian, these are the different classifications of volcanic eruption. Yung Hawaiian, okay, this is described as a non-explosive, okay, type of volcanic eruption. So, ang inaabot ng kanyang yung inaabot niya is up to 100 meters and it is constant. Okay? While yung Hawaiian or the Strombolian is mabagal lang. It's gentle and its plumps are about 100 to 1,000 meters. So, kapag ka nagkaroon ng Strombolian volcanic eruption, usually ito ay nangyayari araw-araw. Diba? Araw-araw. Kagaya na lamang ng Mayon Volcano. Halos araw-araw nag-infuse or nag-infuse siya ng or nagdi-diffuse siya ng ashes. Okay? Then, the Strombolian or the Vulcania naman is explosive. Nagre-release siya ng massive lava. Okay? Which its flame reaches 1 to 5 kilometers weekly. Okay? While the Vulcanian or the Pilean is severe, it reaches 3 to 15 kilometers yearly naman siya. Okay? Then the Plinian or the Pilean has a cataclysmic, okay, explosion, which reaches 10 to 25 kilometers, but it happens every 10 years. Nangyayari lang to every 10 years. Okay? So, another one is the Pilean, or the Plinian rather. So, it has a description of paroxysmal, which reaches 25 kilometers, which happens naman every 50 years. While the ultra-Plinian, or has a description of colossal, and reaches 25 kilometers, and happens every 100 years. So, ang tagal ng mga pagitan, bago yung volcanic eruption. Then, sumunod is the Circean, or what we call the Plinian. So, super colossal naman ang tawag sa description niya. Okay? So, it reaches 25 kilometers, but happens every 1,000 years. While the ultra-Plinian has a description of mega-colossal, which reaches 25 kilometers in every 10 years. Okay? So, yun yung measuring of explosive eruption by the use of Volcanic Explosivity Index. Okay? Nasusundan niyo po ba si ma'am? Nasusundan pa po ba? Andyan pa po ba kayo? Okay. So, these are the different volcanic eruption style na binanggit ni ma'am kanina. Okay? Actually, pa lang siya classification, pero hindi pa natin siya na-identify. So, let us identify the different classification or the different eruption style. Okay? So, the Hawaiian is an eruption style wherein it is a type of volcanic eruption where lava flows from vent in a relatively gentle or low level eruption. So, usually it is named or it is so named because of the characteristic of Hawaiian volcanoes. Okay? So, sa Hawaiian volcanic eruption, yung lava daw, yung flow ng lava is relatively gentle, mabagal lang siya. So, mabilis na makakapag-evacuate. Okay? Kapag ito daw yung type of volcanic eruption na nag-occur, mabilis na makakapag-evacuate ang mga residente na malapit sa volcano kasi mabagal lang yung flow ng lava. Okay? And then the Stromboli naman is a type of eruption wherein it happens in every small volcano in an island. So ito nangyayari sa mga small volcanoes naman sa mga island. Let's say for example sa Hawaii, 'di ba? So, doon siya karaniwang nangyayari. So, it involves moderate burst of expanding gases that ejects clouds or incandescent lava. So, sa Strombolian, usually, this type of volcanic eruption happens in a volcano island. Okay? The stromboli involves moderate burst of expanding gases. So, bakit expanding gases lang yung nire-release ng Strombolian? Kasi mabilis na nare-reach ng magma yung phases of water. Kaya mabilis na nagkakaroon ng cooling down. So kapag nag-cool down yung magma, ang mangyayari is gases na lang yung i-eject, okay, ng volcano. Okay? So, excuse me. Number 3 is the Vulcanian. Okay? So, the Vulcanian is a type of volcanic eruption wherein it is named for Volcano Island which is near the Stromboli. Okay? So, generally, it involves moderate explosive of gas, okay, laden with volcanic ashes. So, yung nangyari kay, tawag dito, Mayon Volcano, okay? So, yun. Vulcanian type yun. Okay? Or, it is an eruption style. Okay? Yung eruption style na is Vulcanian. So, generally, ang involvement daw nito is yung moderate explosions ng gas. And then, yung pagre-release ng volcanic ashes. So, the mixture forms dark, turbulent eruption, clouds that rapidly ascend and expand in convoluted shape. So, delikado daw ito yung Vulcanian kasi yung ashes na nire-release niya is malayo yung naaabot. Okay? Malayo yung ashes na nire-release ng Vulcanian eruption style. And usually, the ashes doesn't disappear in a while. Okay? It takes 10 years to 20 years bago mawala yung ashes sa hangin. Okay? Then, sumunod naman is the Plinian or Pilean, rather. So, these Pilean eruptions are named for destructive eruption. Okay? So, yung Pilean daw is, it is a type of volcanic eruption wherein it could destruct or it could destroy a lot of materials. And isa sa mga halimbawa nito is the eruption of Mount Pili sa Caribbean island. Okay? Then, it happens in year 1902. And it is associated with explosive outburst of or generate pyroclastic flow, dense mixture of hot volcanic fragments. Okay? Then, number 5 is the Plinian. Yung Plinian naman is a type of volcanic eruption kung saan meron siyang intensively violent kind of volcanic eruption. So, ito naman yung talagang sumasabog siya. Okay? Talagang naririnig talaga natin yung pagsabog niya. And it exemplified by outburst of Mount Vesuvius in Italy. Okay? So, the uprushing gases and volcanic fragments resemble a gigantic rocket blast directly vertical upward. So, pataas daw. Alam niyo yung di ba yung fountain, yung ginagamit natin kapag yung tuwing bagong taon. Halimbawa daw yun. Diba? Yung fountain, di ba pag sinindihan natin, pataas yung niya. Pag sinindihan mo, pataas yung okay? So, ganun daw yung plane yan. Pataas siya, but there is an explosion. Okay? So, the Plinian eruption clouds can arise into the stratosphere and sometimes continues to produce several hours. So, dire-diretso daw yung Plinian. Okay? Then, number 6 is the Circean or also known as Phreatomagmatic. This Circean or Phreatomagmatic eruption style is a type of volcanic eruption that takes place in a shallow seas or lakes. So, ito karaniwan nangyayari sa mga volcanoes na malapit sa karagatan, okay? Or what we call the volcanic sea volcanoes. Okay? So, kasi may mga volcanoes na nasa ilalim ng dagat. Okay? Kung bakit nagkakaroon ng hot spring? Kasi merong mga volcanoes na nasa ilalim ng dagat kapag nagpo-produce siya ng heat. Okay? And usually, it is characterized by contact of magma with the body of water, high ice, or even sa groundwater. So, yun yung tinatawag natin na phreatomagmatic. Then, number 7 is what we call the Icelandic. This Icelandic is characterized by an effusion of molten basaltic lava. Okay? So, it has a outpouring of lava by plateaus. So, usually, yung Icelandic is, nagkakaroon siya ng effusion of molten basaltic lava wherein, gentle lang yung pagbagsak niya, pero dire-diretso, okay? Yung flow niya, pababa. Okay? So, nagkakaroon siya ng explosion, pero, hindi na nag-scattered pa yung pyroclastic materials. Sa Icelandic, yung pagbagsak ng kanyang lava is pababa. Okay? Pababa siya. So, this illustration shows the different eruption style. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo, we have here the Icelandic, yung nasa taas. Okay, ayan. Yung pinupoint ni ma'am ng ayan. So, we have here the Hawaiian style. Then, here is the Strombolian, Vulcanian, ayan. So, pinakamalakas na volcanic eruption style is the Plinian, as we have discussed earlier. And then, this is the Chilean. Okay? Yan. Yan po. Okay. So, next is, let us identify the different types of volcano naman based on their shape. Okay? So, these are the different types of volcano based on their shape. Okay? So, una is the cinder cone or what we call the scoria cone. Okay? Yung shape ng cinder cone or scoria cone is can be classified as a symmetrical cone. Okay? So, yung taas niya is umaabot ng up to 1,200 feet or 370 meters. And then, yung degrees ng slope niya is 30 to 40 degrees. Okay? Ano-ano po ang mga halimbawa ng cinder cone? Unang-una na dito is the Paricutin in Mexico. That is a type of volcano. Okay? Maliit lang siya. Okay? Then, the lava butte, the sunset crater. Yan yung mga halimbawa ng cinder cone or scoria cone. Another type of or another example of cinder cone or scoria cone dito naman sa Pilipinas is the Taal Volcano. Okay? So, yung Taal Volcano has a symmetrical cone. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, malawak yung pinakang niya, yung symmetry ng cone niya. Okay? Then, sumunod naman is the shield. Yung shield naman has a tall and broad shape. Okay? So, it has a height up to 30,000 feet or 9,000 meters. So, its slope was roughly 10 degrees near the base and 5 degrees near the top. Ang mga halimbawa nito is the Walalay, Maukuwala o Maulowa. Okay? The Kohala Volcano. Yan yung mga example ng shield volcano. While another type of volcano based on their shape is the composite. Okay? This composite has a symmetrical cone of tall, steep ends. Ayan, tall and steep. Okay? So, ang height niya is up to 8,000 feet to 2,400 meters. And its slope has a roughly 6 degrees near the base and 30 degrees near the top. So, ibig sabihin, yung composite, ito yung klase ng volcano na mataas yung ibabaw. Then, yung kalahati niya is nasa ilalim ng tubig. Okay? Then, ang mga halimbawa nito yung Mount Fuji. 'Di ba? The Mount Shasta, Mount Helen, the Mount Rainier. Yan. Isa pa is the Mount Mayon. Yan. Hindi ko makita yung isa. Isang halimbawa. Okay? Next one. Yan. I-identify natin or i-define natin sila isa-isa. Okay? Yung cinder cone volcano is monopolized on extruding lava on the surface which is making landforms. Okay? So, yung cinder cone is opposite. It has an opposite slides. Okay? And usually, it is created from a single cone-shaped opening. So, sabi nga ni Ma'am kanina, based from our discussion earlier, yung cinder cone volcano is malawak yung shape niya, yung cone niya. Kumbaga sa yung tinapay, di ba, pag inuka mo siya ng malaki, parang ganun yung itsura niya. Then, yung sumunod naman, yung shield volcano, is, yung eruption is accompanied by pyroclastic material. So, yung shield volcano, ito yung mataas na klase ng volcano. Okay? Kung bakit siya tumataas, it is because of the pyroclastic materials that top together at the tip of the slope. Okay? So, nagpapatong-patong yung pyroclastic materials, kaya lalo siyang tumataas. Okay? That is the shield volcano. Sumunod naman is the composite volcano. So, the composite volcano is also known as stratovolcano. Ito yung karaniwang, anong tawag dito? Examples nito. Yung eruption daw nito is very dangerous and explosive. Okay? Bakit? It is because many layers of lava and pyroclastic materials are rocks. Okay? Commonly, the rocks, gases that can reach up to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit and 450 meters per hour. So, kaya nitong pumatay ng living organism in a path immediately. Okay? Yun yung composite volcano. Sumunod naman is the lava domes. Okay? So, yung formation niya is very viscous. Okay? And its flow has reached a great distance. Okay? So, as the lava dome slowly grow, the outer surface cools and hardens as the lava continues to pile within. Alam niyo yung nangyari sa Parang year 1996 ata yun. Yung nangyari sa Pampanga. 'Di ba yung lahar? 'Di ba? Nagkaroon, bago pa yung lahar, nagkaroon ng flow of lava, okay, from the volcano. And then, tapos nagkaroon ng bagyo. Okay? Pero yung mga lava kasi na yun, naipon sa gilid ng volcano. Okay? Nung bumagyo, okay, lahat ng lava na yun is nag-flows down kasama ng tubig. Kaya nagkaroon ng lahar. Okay? Kaya milyon-milyong kabahayan, okay, ang talagang natabunan ng lahar. Pagkatapos ng lahar na yon, ang daming bahay yung mas mataas pa yung lupa o yung lahar kaysa doon. Natabunan talaga siya ng gusto. Okay? So, ano na natin to kanina, no? Ito naman yung different types of volcano based naman sa activity. Okay? So, identify na natin siya. Okay? So, ito yung illustration niya. Okay? Based sa kanyang activity, we have the active magma chamber slowly filling, and then inactive magma chamber. So, yung number 1, active volcano. Yan. Ayan o. Ito yung active volcano. Yan. Active, balikan natin. Yan. This is the active volcano. Oh. Yan. So, sa active volcano, an eruption of volcano is having an erupting or eruption fairly and frequently. So, yung active volcano daw, nangyayari daw dito, yung eruption niya is madalas, okay? Frequently. Kasi active siya eh. Okay? So, yung eruption niya, madalas na nangyayari. Okay? Kaya yung mga lugar na malapit sa mga active volcano, madalas nagkakaroon ng earthquake. Because earthquake is one of the signs of volcanic eruption. Then, number 2 is the dormant, or what we call the sleeping volcano. So, it is an active volcano that is not erupting but supposed to erupt again. Okay? Ito daw yung klase ng volcano na matagal na. Okay? Active volcano siya. Okay? Active volcano siya, pero, kumbaga, parang binabantayan kasi siya eh. Diba? Kasi, anytime, pwedeng siyang magkaroon ng erupt o ng volcanic activity. So, usually, this dormant or sleeping volcano, is nagkakaroon ng eruption activity or volcanic activity in the last 2,000 years. Pero, acting volcano pa rin siya. Okay? So, anytime pwede siyang sumabog. Then, sumunod naman is the extinct volcano. This extinct volcano is hindi na siya nagkakaroon ng, ito siya. Ayan o. Ayan. Okay? Inactive magma chamber. Ayan. Yun yung pinakang-plug niya. Okay? So, it has not had an eruption for at least 10 years. And hindi na daw to ina-expect pa na magkaroon ng volcanic eruption again. Comparable with the time scale of the future. Okay? So, we have already discussed about the different types of volcanoes. Okay? Based on their activities, based on their types. Okay? So, ngayon naman, we will see what are the different events that could occur kapag magkakaroon ng volcanic eruption. Okay? So, number 1 is the ground tremors or what we call earthquake. Okay? Isa sa mga signs, kagaya ng binanggit natin kanina, is the earthquake. Nagkakaroon daw ng earthquake. Okay? Sumunod naman is the heightened activity of steam discharge. Okay? Isa sa mga signs na sasabog ang isang volcano is kapag nagre-release na to ng steam. Okay? O pag halimbawa, napansin nyo na medyo nagre-release ng usok yung volcano. Yan, isa sa mga sign na yan. Then, sumunod is the ground swelling o pagkatuyo ng lupa. Nanunuyo yung lupa. Okay? Then, or yung nagbibitak-bitak pala, rather. Okay? It is because of drying up of small bodies of water around the volcano, including the death of the plant. Okay, kaya nagkakaroon din ng ground swelling. Then, number 5 is the landslide and other mass wasting event. Kaya nagkakaroon ng landslide and mass wasting event. It is because of the ground tremors or earthquake. And then, number 6 is the unusual behavior of animals. Okay? Most especially yung mga nakatira sa malapit sa volcano. Okay? They tend to evacuate once they feel na magkakaroon na ng volcanic eruption. Okay? So, nagiging unusual yung behavior nila. Nagkakaingay sila. Okay? So, yung mga ibon is lipad ng lipad. Diba? Lumilipat kasi ng area kung saan malayo sa volcano. Okay? So, that is our topic, okay, for lesson number 1. Okay, and lesson number 2. Lesson number 1 is the endogenic